Hello, welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make a stuffed chicken breast. And I've made stuffed pork chops before, and people generally love stuffed food, stuffed pork chops, stuffed chicken, stuffed burgers. So there's a lot of interest in these. And so what I want to do today is a very simple stuffed chicken breast. Now we're going to do this in 3 parts. Number 1, to keep, especially when we're doing breast, to keep white meat from drying out too quickly, it's a good idea to brine it. And when you brine something, usually put like 2 or 3 cups of water, a couple of teaspoons of salt, a couple of teaspoons of sugar, shake it all up together, and brine your chicken in there for an hour, an hour and a half, something like that. What that will do is it will penetrate in and it'll keep the chicken moist, while you're cooking it. Take it out, as I did. I left these in for about an hour. And before I brined them, I took and I cut the slit in there. And I cut it in the thickest part of the chicken, down to the bone and across, probably about, about 3 to 4 inches, something like that. Then I put it in the brine. I let it brine for, like I said, probably about an hour. Brought it out, rinsed it off, and dried them. And so now we're ready to go ahead. That's the first part. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to brown the chicken, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a sauce that goes on top of it. So what we're going to do now is I want to take our ingredients here, and we have 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of sweet basil, a teaspoon of salt, and about a teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and we'll mix this together such. Now we're going to take and let me preheat the oven. Alright, now that we have our herb mixture, let's go ahead and I have 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And this is a mozzarella stuffed chicken breast, so we're just going to use some cheese in here. I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the cheese in there. Okay. Then I'm going to take a toothpick and kind of put that together so it's not going to all ooze out. Now I'm going to do it to the second one. Okay, and once again, take my toothpick and run it through like this so that we're not going to lose all our cheese. Wash off my hands there. Now, we're going to take and underneath the skin, I'm going to put a little of this mixture. And we're also going to take and we're going to rub the outside with a little olive oil. And then we're going to sprinkle this on the outside. Alright, now let's go ahead and let's take our herb mixture and let's sprinkle it on the top. Such. Okay. Okay, now it's time. Let's go ahead and let's brown these on either side. So I'm going to take them over to the stove. And we're going to brown them. Let me put in a little olive oil and give me a minute while that heats up. Okay, it looks like the skillet's reasonably hot. So let's go ahead and let's put our chicken in. Now we're going to let this brown for probably about 2 to 3 minutes, per side. Then we're going to go ahead and flip them over. Then we're going to put these in the oven, and we're going to let them cook. And while these are in the oven, and while we're baking them there, we're going to make our sauce to go on top, which is our third step. Okay, it's been roughly 6 to 8 minutes, something like that, and the chicken is browned nicely on both sides. The oven has come up to 350 degrees, so now let's go ahead and put this in the oven. Now, we're going to cook it until it gets up to 165 degrees. Now, I don't particularly like cooking based on time, as you all know. I'd rather cook by thermometer. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put these in And I'm going to leave them in there for 30-35 minutes, and then we're going to take the temperature of it. And if it's not up to 165, we're going to put them back in again. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our sauce that we're going to put over the top of them. Okay, our chicken's now in the oven. So let me go ahead and get a saucepan and let's get ready to start our sauce. Alright, the chicken's in the oven. So let's go ahead and let's start making our sauce. I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil in. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter. Now we're going to wait for this to melt. Now, for our sauce, what do we have? We have 2 tablespoons of butter, probably just a drizzle of olive oil. We have about a tablespoon of shallots chopped. We have about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic minced. We have about, half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of lemon zest, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a pinch of red pepper flakes, about a tablespoon of chopped parsley, 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, and this is the stuff. I don't like the pre-grated stuff. I like to grate it myself, so this is one I grated. About 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth, and 1.5 cups of heavy cream, or if you want, you can usually go ahead and use half and half, fat-free, half and half. You could probably even use whole milk if you want. The only difference is it isn't going to be as smooth and creamy as if you would have used the heavy cream, but it'll also be a little more health friendly. Okay. Now let's put our shallots in, and we're going to saute them. I love the smell of these shallots. They're just getting to the fragrant stage now. We'll keep sauteing them though. All right, the shallots are pretty well sauteed. Now let's put the garlic in. And you want to make sure that you stir this while the garlic is sauteing, because garlic burns easily. And we're just going to saute this until it becomes fragrant. All right, now let's put in our chicken broth. And we want to reduce this a little bit. So we're going to let this come to a boil, and we're going to reduce it, probably about a quarter to a fourth, something like that. All right, it's boiling now, so now it will start to reduce. So we're going to let it reduce, a couple of minutes, something like that. And then we're going to finish up our sauce. And I also have a cornstarch slurry here, which is probably about 2 to 3 teaspoons of cornstarch and probably a tablespoon of water, something like that, or a couple tablespoons. And now remember, with cornstarch, it falls out of suspension in here. So always before you use it, make sure that you stir it. All right, make sure that you stir this so that it's in suspension when you put it in. All right, now it's pretty well reduced, so let me put our lemon zest, our black pepper, and our little pinch of red pepper flakes. All right, now I'm going to put in a little bit of my cream. All right, now the cream's all mixed in, and we mixed it in kind of in thirds, slowly, so we don't worry about it curdling. Usually that's kind of rare, but once in a while it happens. Let's go ahead and bring it back up to temperature again. Alright, and I'm going to put in our parsley. Okay, our sauce is boiling again. So at this point, I'm going to take and I'm going to put our Parmesan cheese in. Because I want that to melt. Okay, it's still a little thin. So I want to take it, I want to stir up my cornstarch slurry. And I want to pour a little bit of that in here. Now remember, we don't want to pour too much in there because we may not want it too thick. Actually, that's very good consistency right there. So I'm going to turn my heat way down to low. And we're going to let it simmer here for a little bit. We've got a few more minutes on our chicken. But just to see where we are, let me take its temperature. It's about 135. We've got 9 minutes left on there, so that's probably going to be about right. So let's just go ahead and we'll plan on taking another look in about 9 minutes. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes. It took a little longer than I suspected it would, but remember, those are pretty thick chicken breasts, so I'm not surprised. But the thermometer came up to 165 degrees. We're fine, we're all there. Now, it's time to pull them out, let them rest for a couple of minutes, and then it's time to plate. So let's go ahead and pull them out of the oven. Aren't those beautiful looking chicken breasts? We have our skin, which is nice and golden, well browned. We have our mozzarella mix. We have our herb mix on it. You know, those are just, they're lovely. So let's go ahead and let's let them rest for just a minute. What's the last thing I always tell you to do before you serve it? Right, you taste it. Now, ask yourself a question. if you were serving this to the man or woman who is going to decide your next promotion or your raise, would you serve it to them? If you wouldn't, why serve it to anybody? Now here's something to remember. Taste things frequently. All right? And the reason is a little problem is very easy to fix in the early stages of your dish. By the time you get to the end, fixing something could be a real challenge, and then you might not even get it done. So taste it periodically. Make sure that it's going the way you want, and you'll be fine. All right? Now, let's go ahead and plate. All right, there's our stuffed chicken breast. Now, put some parsley on the top, and let's go ahead and garnish this. I've got some cilantro that I'm putting on it. All right. Now remember, we used the lemon zest in there, so just a couple of drops of lemon juice would be just appropriate. And then let's go ahead and put a little section of lemon on here. All right. And here you go. This is a very good looking and a very delicious stuffed chicken breast. If I were going to serve it to somebody that was going to give me my next promotion, I would not hesitate to. So, with that in mind, why don't you go ahead and try it? It's extremely easy to make, as most dishes are when you actually see how to do it. It's extremely easy to make. It tastes very, very good. Try it for some guests. They'll love it. So, once again, thank you for watching. Take care. God bless. Remember, at times like this, cooking is absolutely fun. Now, we'll look forward to seeing you next episode. Bye for now.